Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. Of course, I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, a welcome. And as always, if you are returning, a welcome back. So, this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my loves. So this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of June 3rd through June 9th, 2024. So there is a lot going on this week, a lot of activity in the sky, and it's a week that is, I'm not going to say it's bittersweet because that would be a little too dramatic. I will say that it's got some really beautiful energy and some energy that we're going to have to work through, right? But we have perhaps some of the best transits this week. And plus, we've got a lot of energetic shifts. We've got two planets changing signs, plus, we have a new moon. So, there's a lot to cover tonight. All right. So, you'll want to get cozy, get your favorite drink, get your favorite snack, maybe even a little notepad and pen to not to, to jot down some things, get comfortable and lock in because we're about to get into it. All right. But of course, before I get into the details, housekeeping and announcements. So, if you are joining me here on the live this evening, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Say hi on your way in and please hit that like button as well. It lets the algorithm know that you like and value this content and it will disseminate it to other people who may like it as well. So, it definitely helps the channel out. All right. And if you are catching this on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. I sincerely hope that you get whatever you are looking for out of this broadcast. All right. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and if you find this information valuable, hit that thumbs up and share it. Let people know what's going on because the whole point of these broadcasts that I do every week is not just to spout out the astrological information to you. This is like your cosmic weather forecast, right? It's like if you know that on Thursday it's going to rain, you'll carry an umbrella with you, right? For the chance, even if it's a 50% chance or even a 10% chance, if you have that umbrella with you, you're covered, right? Just in case it rains. So that's the whole point of these. And of course, because for me, teaching astrology and, producing astrology content, I use astrology for self-discovery. It's cute, if you want to know like who you're compatible with or you know, what your sun sign is about, but this information is meant to help you figure out who you truly are and how you can improve, right? And so that's the purpose of all this. And so if you find this information, if you find my content valuable, share it with someone else who you think will enjoy it as well. All right. So speaking of which, if you are someone who's interested in your horoscope, but you don't know where to look, or perhaps what you're finding online just isn't resonating with you, then you will definitely want to consider signing up for my text service where you will get your weekly horoscope texted to you every Monday. All right. So if you're interested, you're going to text the word ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544. They're short, sweet, to the point. People really seem to like them. I'm always getting comments that they resonate or, wow, this really made sense. So if you're interested, the information for that will be in the description box below. All right. And as always, if you are someone who is brand spanking new to astrology and you have no idea what's going on, or maybe you're not so brand new to astrology and you still have no idea what's going on, don't worry, I got you covered. So I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which essentially gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying and understanding astrology, mainly the four pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. It's an 11-page PDF document that summarizes all of this information so that you can start committing it to memory, right? Because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is indeed a science. And like any science, it requires a good deal of study. So, to help you get studying, I created this cheat sheet. If you're interested, the link will be in the description box below. All you need to do is drop your email and you'll be good to go. All right. All right. So, if you're looking for even more content, then consider becoming a roommate, which means subscribing to our channel membership. So, as a roommate, you not only get extra content, which is sign specific content, you get early access to videos, plus you get 20% off all of my products and services forever. All right. So, it's a monthly subscription fee. You get these great perks. It's a great way to get even more information, especially if you're hungry for knowledge, right? But it's also a really great way to support the channel. So if you're interested in becoming a member, the link is in the description box below. All right. And so, in terms of announcements, I'm going live tomorrow afternoon to discuss the upcoming new moon in Gemini. All right. Typically, my moon series videos, I usually pre record them and then just upload them. However, my schedule has been a little all over the place. So, I decided to go live to discuss that. So, I believe I'm going live tomorrow at 4 p.m. So, tap in if you can. If you can't, it'll always be up on the channel. So, just want to let you guys know that. All right. So, now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's talk about this week. So, like I said before, we've got two planets changing signs plus a new moon in Gemini. So, the first thing that I want to say is this is going to be a week where you feel a lot of this planetary shift. It's definitely going to be an energetic shift, for real. Okay. Which can feel a little jarring sometimes, right? Once you're really tapped in and once you're really like hip to how things kind of work, when the planets change signs or when there's some sort of major astrological event, you feel it and you see it in your immediate environment, right? And I feel like this is going to be one of those weeks where we're definitely feeling the shift. Apart from that, the plethora of Gemini energy that is available to us right now is a lot, obviously, since I'm using the word plethora, but it's very intense. And I was guided to do a live on Instagram yesterday where I sort of talked about the energy and what it means. And I'm thinking I might like sort of edit it and put it on the channel here. However, if you aren't following me on Instagram already, this would be a great uh oh, I'm going live on YouTube tomorrow, not Instagram, for the new moon and Gemini information. But I'm saying I went live on Instagram yesterday to talk about the Gemini energy, and I'm thinking about posting it here on the channel. I don't know. We'll see. But essentially, we are in a time where there's a lot of mental activity. There's just going to be a lot of activity, period. Hey, what's up, Philip Boone? What's up? What's up, Ramel? Um, it's just a lot of activity, a lot of mental activity, right? This is a week where you really want to be focused on what you're thinking about. And I think I've talked about this ad nauseum between, the monthly astro forecast that I did last week, even last week's weekly astro forecast. I feel like I've been talking about this energy for a minute. But it's important. It's important because thoughts become things. Everything that we see in our reality was originally a thought. So this is the time to get your mind right. All right. More so because we have that new moon in Gemini coming up this week on Thursday. So this is the time to think of a plan. This is the time to really get your thoughts, ideas, your communication even in alignment with what it is that you want and not what it is that you don't want. All right. That's going to be super important. The other thing I'll mention about this week is that we have some really positive and beautiful energy. Okay. And I don't know about you, but I can already start to feel it. Things are feeling a little more lighthearted. Things are feeling a little lovey-dovey, if I must say so myself. And just fortuitous. If I had to sum up the energy in one word, it is fortuitous. Right. So you want to take advantage of any opportunities that are kind of coming your way right now even if they don't necessarily feel or look like on the surface that they're beneficial, they're either going to be more beneficial than you think, or they're just like blessings in disguise kind of a thing. So, whatever sort of transpires for you this week, whatever opportunities arise, try not to second guess them. Okay. Apart from that, the other thing I'll say about these fortuitous opportunities that may come about is that you don't always have to, how can I say this more effectively? You can give any meaning that you want to a certain situation. Okay. Just because something appears a certain way doesn't mean that that's what it is. The only reason that it would be what it is because you decide that that is the narrative you're going to assign to that thing. Okay. The only example I can give is like, let's say you are you're dating, right? And someone is actually telling you the things that you want to hear. It's like at that point you can go, you have one of two options. You could, accept what they're saying to you with gratitude, right? You could be like, "Oh, like I this is what I've wanted to hear. This sounds great. I like this." Like, and accept it again with gratitude. Or you could assign the narrative. You could assign a whole bunch of narratives. Oh, this person just wants something out of me, or oh, this person's just trying to butter me up, or they're just gassing me up and then they're just going to hurt me. Like, if that's what you think the situation is, then that's what the situation is going to be. So that's so important right now. And it goes to what I was saying before about getting your mind right. It's not just about thinking about what you want. When you're encountering certain things, what is the story? What is the meaning that you give to it? Nothing in this world, let me not say that. Everything in this world can be used for your good. In fact, it is. There is nothing in this world that is to your detriment. There's nothing that you can't transmute, that you can't transform, that you can't turn around. Absolutely nothing. The only things that can't be turned around are the things that you decide can't be turned around. So it's important because if I'm being completely honest, like I found myself giving a narrative to something that I didn't need to. And I found that the narrative that I was assigning to this situation was based on things that happened in the past or similar situations that didn't turn out well. So I decided that this situation wasn't going to turn out well either. And that's not the wave. That's not how you're supposed to approach that. Envision every single situation as a clean slate, and you get to decide what it means. You get to decide what the outcome is because in reality, you do. You just think that you don't, or you forget that you have the power to do that. So, this is the week where you're going to want to flex that muscle and you're going to want to say, you know what? No. Okay. So, another perfect example, you've wanted to start your own business, right? And you have a 9 to 5, you work, and you suddenly get laid off or they cut your hours. At that point, you could decide, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's not to say that you shouldn't be stressed or even scared, right? Those are natural human reactions. However, if you're just like, I'm not going to be able to find anything else, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, if you're assigning that narrative to that situation, you're just going to get more of that kind of energy. Now you're frantically looking for jobs and you're not getting any interviews, or you're going on interviews and you're not getting any callbacks or any, that no one's taking you, no one's hiring you, right? Hello, Maminka. Hello. No one's hiring you. Or you could say, all right, so either I don't have a job right now or they cut my hours. So now is a perfect time for me to start working on my own thing. Like this was a blessing in disguise. So now I have the time, I have the space, I have the energy to work on my own thing. Because when you were working a solid 40 to 50 hours a week, as much as you tried working on your own thing and your own business, it was tough because you were tired. Plus you had other responsibilities. Now the universe is like, listen, I just freed you up. I freed up your schedule. Meanwhile, you're thinking this is the worst thing ever. Is it going to be difficult? Of course it's going to be difficult. Because money may be a little tight. Maybe you've got to rob Peter to pay Paul, or maybe you need to take out a loan, or maybe you need whatever, right? But if it depends on your perspective. If you're looking at this as a blessing in disguise, the money is going to come, I promise you. And that's not to blow smoke up your ass. It's true. Whatever you need will come to you, provided you keep the perspective that this is a blessing in disguise. If you feel like this is a blessing, the universe is going to give you more blessings. But if you feel like this is some bullshit, if you feel like, what am I going to do? Blah, 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 you're going to get more of that. You're going to get more of things that feel like bullshit, right? So it's really important that you hone in on the narratives that you give to things that already exist. That's how you transmute energy. That's how you change things around. So not only are we thinking good thoughts and we're aligning our thoughts to what we want, we're also not accepting what's in our reality as things that we don't want. If it's a situation that feels kind of shitty, to pivot that shit, turn that shit around. No, this is actually working out for me. It's like literally looking for the silver lining. That's what changes things. And I'm bringing this up right now because right now, especially this week, this is the week where you're so going to want to do that. If you haven't been doing that already, this is the week when you want to start. When you want to change the narratives of the things that are happening to you. They're not happening to you, they're happening for you. And you're thinking about the things that you want. And it's just going to give you more of what you want. You just have to recognize also that you are getting what you want. The last thing I say about this before I get into the astrology is that a lot of times we want things, but we envision them in a very specific kind of way. I want this career, or let's not even say that. I want this promotion. Well, in your mind, you feel like, okay, this person has to leave. The management has to think that I'm great. You try to pattern out the whole way that this is going to work. Meanwhile, the universe is like, all right, bet. You want this promotion? You got it. Your wish is my command. However, I'm looking at things from a 300,000 foot view. You're looking at it from 30 feet. There are certain things you can't see, but I can. And I know how to pattern this out. I know how to make this work. Like I said, I told you, your wish is my command. You asked for it, you got it. Now let go. Let go. Don't let go of the vision. Don't let go of the goal. Let go of the control. Let go of how is this going to come to pass? Let go of trying to control each and every step because you think that this is the only way that you can get a promotion. Because you're looking at it from your logical mind. Even though we're in Gemini season and it is the logical mind, Jupiter is in Gemini right now. Do you know what that means? That means that we have access to the super conscious mind right now. The super conscious mind is within the realm of the conscious mind. That means that we can tap into that 4D. That means that we can tap into higher consciousness. So do that. Everything exists perfectly in 4D. Everything exists perfectly in higher consciousness. So that's what you should rely on when it comes to these things that you want. Because from your perspective, like I said, you feel like, let me take this example further. You, in your limited thinking, when I say limited, I'm not saying that you're mentally limited. I'm saying that, the 3D limited. In your mind, you feel like in order for you to get promoted, somebody has to leave, right? That position has to become vacant in order for you to get promoted. Meanwhile, you're looking around and nobody's going anywhere. As a matter of fact, the person whose position you supposedly want, they just got more responsibilities, right? It's like maybe they even got a pay raise. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't get the promotion. I didn't get the promotion. A week later, your boss calls you into their office and says, we've decided to bifurcate this particular, your department. So and so has this position. I'm going to give you the matching position. A whole new position was created just for you. But in your mind, you thought that that person had to leave for you to get it. Meanwhile, the universe was like, listen, I got you. Don't worry, I got you. I already told you. Your wish is my command. Don't forget that, especially this week, especially as you think about the things that you want. Because, like I said, we've got a new moon in Gemini this week. So, this is when you're planting mental seeds, things that you want to come about. You're going to be thinking about this week. And I want you to take all the brakes off of your thinking. Take all the barriers, take off all the obstacles. I don't care how outlandish it seems. I don't care how impossible you think it is. To the universe, it's nothing. To the universe, it's light work. To the universe, it's like, boop, okay. Oh, I needed to move a mountain for that? All right, cool. Mountain moved. What's next? This is the state that I want you to be in when you think about what you want. And trust and believe. I know it's not necessarily an easy feat because we've been so conditioned to think the worst of things, to think the worst of ourselves, to think that things are so hard, that life is so challenging. Don't get me wrong. Life is a bitch sometimes. Do not get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. Life can be hard as F sometimes. But when you really think about it, and when you really drop into who you really are, and by who you really are, I mean your God self. Life is light work. Light work. Anything that you want. It may not pattern out the specific way that your brain is thinking, but it's still yours. It's still yours. It's still yours. You're still going to get it. So if there's anything I want you to take away from tonight's live, I want you to write down: the universe is my sugar daddy, and he never says no to me. In any event, the universe always says your wish is my command. That's the job of the universe. All right. So don't forget that, especially this week. Okay. So let's get into the week and see exactly what we've got going on. Of course, we start off with the highlights. And so, first up, we have what I like to call mental gymnastics. This is Mercury in Gemini. As a matter of fact, today Mercury went into Gemini. So, lots of mental activities, communication galore. This is a busy bee kind of time. And learning and interacting with people around you is going to be a thing during this 2-week transit. Okay. Next up, we have what I like to call a fertile mind. Okay. And this is new moon in Gemini. Your mind is it's the soil within which you are planting these seeds. So what seeds are you planting? Okay. Planting mental seeds, getting your mind right, and making a plan. Okay. I can't stress that part enough, making a plan. You know why? Because currently Jupiter's in Gemini, and Jupiter in Gemini is giving so many ideas, so much communication. I see you, Karen. I'm so glad that you joined tonight's live. So much communication, so much interaction, just a lot. And so you may find that this is a time when you've got plenty of ideas, but they'll only go but so far if you're not willing to not only memorialize them, but make a plan. Okay, so making a plan is going to be super important. And then finally, we have what I like to call feeling bullish, and this is Mars in Taurus. Okay, Mars in Taurus gives you a one-track mind. It's working hard toward a particular desire, and it's being extremely stubborn, extremely stubborn. But this transit is really good for something in particular. And I will definitely mention that when I get to that part of the broadcast. All right. So let's get into the week and see exactly what we've got going on. All right. So today we've got Mercury moving into Gemini, Venus sextile the North Node, and the moon in Taurus. All right. Thereafter, On Tuesday, tomorrow, we've got the Sun conjunct Venus, Mercury trine Pluto, and Mercury conjunct Jupiter. You're going to want to put a gold star next to Tuesday because Tuesday is perhaps one of the best days of the week. Then on Wednesday, we have the moon moving into Gemini, whereby on Thursday, the moon moves into the new moon phase in Gemini. Then on Friday, the moon moves into Cancer. Saturday, we've got Venus square Saturn. And then Sunday, we've got a bunch of stuff. We got Mars moving into Taurus, Sun square Saturn, Mercury sextile the North Node, and the moon in Leo. So, like I said, lots and lots and lots of things going on this week. All right. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, my love. So we start off today with Mercury moving into Gemini, Venus sextile the North Node, and the moon in Taurus. So you will see at the upper left hand corner, Mercury is the purple guy. That's at 0 degrees of Gemini. Then also in that same circle, you've got Venus, which is at 13 degrees of Gemini. And the North Node is actually at 14 degrees of Aries in the other circle, looking like a little horseshoe. And then at the very top of the chart, you will see the moon at 0 degrees of Taurus. All right. So, first and foremost, the energy of today may feel a little sort of all over the place. Let me not say all over the place. It's like you have this interesting juxtaposition of energy. So we've got Mercury in Gemini, which is having you firing on all cylinders. It's like lots of busybody activity. And at the same time, you've got the moon in Taurus, which is all about relaxation and getting cozy. So it may be a day where it's like you're like overly mentally stimulated to the point where you're like, all right, I got to take a nap. Like I need to power down a little bit because this is too much. Maybe you're overthinking, right? Mercury in Gemini is great for overthinking, of really just mind going a mile a minute, right? Now Gemini is Mercury's home sign, or at least one of Mercury's home signs. So that Mercury energy is really potent. Not to mention the fact that Jupiter just went into Gemini and is almost at the same degree of Mercury. So our minds are on overdrive right now. Our ability to communicate is on overdrive. Now, one of the things I actually like about Mercury in Gemini is the ability to be expressive. This is the time where you want to use your words. This is the time when you want to exercise your throat chakra. This is the time when you really want to speak, understand, express yourself, right? The one caveat to this particular transit is that everyone is speaking. And so you may have people who just aren't necessarily listening. So communication can definitely be kind of one sided because people may necessarily not be listening to understand, but listening to respond. So it can be one of those transits that, although it is very much expressive, it could lead to a little bit of miscommunication because not only is there so much going on, but everyone's just like, well, I want to be heard. I want to be heard. I want to talk, blah, 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 blah. So keep that in mind. Next up, we've got Venus sextile the North Node. And what I love about this is that this gives you opportunities to get on the right path. I'm sure if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that the North Node, it's your North Star. It's it's where you're headed, right? I love this comment. She says, yep, just recently woke up from that nap. Right, exactly. Moon and Taurus, excellent for naps, excellent for being comfy, Netflix and chill, all that good stuff, right? But yeah, so Venus sextile the North Node, it's like the right resources and the right people tend to find you, or opportunities to follow your North Star, to follow your calling are going to arise, and you'll have the money, you'll have the resources, you'll have the connections. It's really great. It's also giving very soulmate kind of energy. And this soulmate kind of energy is a theme that's going to be very present this week. Okay. Remember, soulmates necessarily aren't necessarily romantic. Soulmates could be friends. They could be, coworkers, they could be business associates, whatever. But the people who are really meant to sort of be in your life for a very specific reason, You're going to have opportunities to find them or they find you, right? I love Venus sextile the North Node because it's like you're cognizant of where you're going and what you need is available. Whether it's the connection, whether it's someone who could get you in, whether it's, money, whether it's a resource, whatever it is, it's like those things can find you. So it's a very affirming kind of transit, right? Because it's one thing to understand what your North Star is, where you're headed, what you're supposed to be doing, what your soul's mission or your life purpose is. But it can be a very daunting process, right? Especially if your North Star is in a completely different direction than what you've already been doing. And so not only are you overcoming perhaps fear, anxiety, and insecurities in following your North Star, sometimes it requires money, especially if you are to have your own business, if you're to switch careers, if you're to relocate even, where are you going to get the money for that? Venus sextile North Node provides those opportunities. So keep an open mind, number one, and take advantage of whatever opportunities come your way, because even if that opportunity isn't the opportunity, I can almost guarantee that it will take you to the opportunity. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then finally, we got Moon in Taurus. And like I said, that's about being comfy. It's about wanting to nap. It's about being cozy, relaxing. That's on a more mundane level. Like spiritually, or I should say, on a higher level, whenever the moon is in Taurus, it's a great time for us to practice appreciation, appreciation and gratitude. Moon in Taurus is like stop and smell the roses, right? See how far you've come. Be grateful for what you already have. As the moon works its way through the zodiac, it's like we are urged to practice gratitude early, regardless of our starting point, regardless of whatever we have, even if we want to amass more, we amass more by being grateful for what we already have. So, Moon in Taurus is great for appreciation. So, take it easy tonight, relax, watch your favorite movie, get your favorite snacks, right? And just appreciate where you're at. Appreciate the bed that you're laying in, appreciate the TV that you're watching, appreciate the job that you have to go to tomorrow. Like, those are all things that you currently have that you can absolutely love right now. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right, so I already told you that Tuesday is the day that you're going to want to put a gold star next to, because it's pretty much kind of the most positive day of the week. Okay, so first up, we have the Sun conjunct Venus in Gemini. Then we've got Mercury trine Pluto and Mercury conjunct Jupiter. So I want you to look at the bottom red circle. We've got the Sun, we've got Venus, we've got Jupiter, and we've got Mercury. They're all hanging out in Gemini, getting cozy. All right. And then Mercury is at 1 degree of Gemini. That's the purple guy. And at the very top of the chart, you will see Pluto, the maroon mirror looking thing that's also at 1 degree of Aquarius. All right. So let's talk about the positive aspect of the week. Sorry, if you see me touching my face and doing all of that, I feel like I have a slight allergic reaction to something and I'm a little itchy. So I'm not gross, I'm just a little itchy. All right, so Sun conjunct Venus. This is what is known as a Venus cazimi, and it is a very fortuitous aspect. Venus is at the perfect position next to the sun where it doesn't get burned out, but it just gets to shine and get energized, right? So, what are Venusian things? Love, money, relationships, fairness. It's a beautiful transit for love. It's also giving kind of soulmate energy. Really, it kind of gets you clear on what you're looking for. And with Venus currently in Gemini, it's like what you think about relationships becomes energized. This is why you have to get your mind right, and why you have to get your narratives in alignment with what it is that you want, because there's going to be this energy of people coming in your sphere, people talking to you, interacting with people. And whatever you think about relationships, that's what's going to come to pass. Whatever you think about money, that's what's going to come to pass. And it's going to come to pass. I'm not going to say forcefully, but it's going to really come to pass because the sun is energizing Venus right now. So think about what it is that you want and allow that to be magnetized to you. And I use the word magnetize very intentionally because of the next transit, and that is Mercury trine Pluto. Now, Mercury trine Pluto, you take Mercury in its home sign of Gemini, where you can really talk that talk, express yourself, all that stuff I said before, and you intensify it. It's like you're adding a magnet to your words and to your thoughts. So you are magnetizing things to you. So whatever you're thinking about, that shit is gonna come to you like a magnet. Now, the one thing I will say with Sun conjunct Venus and Mercury trine Pluto gives you very persuasive power. If you need to ask anyone a favor, do it tomorrow. If you need to ask somebody for money, do it tomorrow. If you want to shoot your shot, okay? You want to ask that pretty lady out on a date, do it tomorrow. But be charismatic about it, please. Don't be like a dork. If you want to have that guy treat you like a goddess and pay all your bills, talk to him about that tomorrow. Your word is your magnet right now. Your thoughts are magnets. So pick and choose wisely what you're talking about and what you're thinking about, all right? And then we've got Mercury conjunct Jupiter. So Jupiter is expanding all of this. So everything I just said about the energy of tomorrow, Jupiter is making it larger. It's making it bigger. So I don't know what you envisioned when I said your words are your magnet, right? Think about you holding a giant ass magnet and everything that you're saying, that you're putting out there, that you're speaking into existence is coming into you. And then everything that you're thinking, that's also a big ass magnet. It's coming to you, right? So choose wisely. I forgot the exact sentence in the Bible, but it's like your tongue is your sword. You can either speak life or speak death over yourself and your life with your tongue, all right? So remember that. I really want you to think about that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you all some homework. And I want you guys to comment. I'm going to put a post tomorrow in the community tab for you to for you to talk about this, all right? I want you to visualize having these magnets. And what are you attracting? Now, if you're manifesting something, please don't talk about that. You should kind of keep your manifestations under wraps, but speak life. I'm going to give you the space to speak life over your life. What do you want? What are you attracting right now? I want you to meditate on that tonight. And then tomorrow, I want y'all to hit the community tab and let me know what that is so we can start really speaking what we want into existence. If you want to do it in the chat, you could do it in the chat. If you want to do it in the comments, you can do it. I don't care where you do it. I'm going to give you the space to do it, but just do it, okay? Because we're conscious, we're intentional about what it is that we are magnetizing to ourselves right now. So again, put a gold star next to tomorrow because tomorrow is going to be beautiful. All right, let's keep it moving. All right. And then on Wednesday, we have the moon moving into Gemini. So you will see the moon at 0 degrees of Gemini in that red circle. Now, the new moon is not until Thursday. However, the moon will move into the sign of Gemini on Wednesday. So whenever the moon is in Gemini, it's like we want to express ourselves. We want to talk. We want to communicate with people. Gemini is a very curious sign, okay? And this is sort of what I spoke about when I did my live on Instagram yesterday. I spoke about how Gemini is very playful energy. It's very youthful, right? So, even though we are being intentional about our thoughts and our word and we're speaking things into existence in our lives, I want you to play with this. I want you to have fun with this. So a lot of times, especially in the manifestation communities, they talk about like, oh, try to manifest a cup of coffee or try to manifest seeing a green car or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I want you to think about something that if it came to pass, you would have no option but to realize that you manifested it. Like, let's say you're like, listen, I want to see a red feather with white dots on it. And you know that if you were to see that, that it is purely the product of your imagination and your thoughts. Have fun with this. Play. Be youthful. It's within that youthful energy that we create things. Creation is not meant to be an arduous task. Remember, I said before, the universe says, my wishes, you say the universe says, your wish is my command, right? It's light work for the universe to do things. Therefore, it is light work for you to create things. And the best way to create things is from a space of play, from a space of fun, from a space of relaxation. You know why? Because creation is natural to you. It's not meant to be this arduous thing, this hard thing, this thing that's like a chore. Don't get me wrong. And I went on this tirade like probably 2 weeks ago. A lot of people talk about robotic affirming and all of these techniques and tricks to manifest. It's not that they don't work. I just feel like they take you out of your natural state. Trust and believe, when you're having fun with this, things start popping up like you won't believe. One of the things I've been doing over the last week to sort of really get into this space has been I've been watching things that literally make me laugh. I've been laughing all damn week. And when I tell you the things that have been popping up in my reality, it's crazy. Because you're laughing, you're having fun. It's your natural state of being. Think of Gemini as like toddler, right? And in the zodiac, if Aries is like a newborn baby and you're going based off that, Gemini is like a toddler, right? Toddlers don't give a fuck about bills. I'm not saying to not pay your bills or anything like that, but toddlers don't care. Toddlers are just having fun, touching things, indulging in curiosities, living life on their own terms. It's you that has to worry about them, right? You have to make sure that they're safe. You have to make sure that you're the one that's worrying. Meanwhile, they're not. That's the state you want to be in right now. Be like a toddler, have fun, manifest from a place of fun, and you're going to see things start to manifest a lot quicker in your life. And with the moon in Gemini, it absolutely supports that. And then we move into Thursday. So then Thursday is the new moon in Gemini, and you'll see both the sun and the moon are at 16 degrees of Gemini. All right. So you're going to take that energy and now you're going to plant those seeds. Watch some comedy shows. There is this channel on YouTube that I absolutely love. I've actually been watching it for probably like a year and a half or so. But I've been watching almost every video they've made this week because I really wanted to be in that state. And the channel is called Shits and Gigs. These two guys who talk about a lot of different stuff and they're funny as hell. And watching their videos every day, it's just fun. It's funny. I like to laugh. My mood has been better. I've been sleeping better. Like, it's just laugh, play. That's all I have to say about that. And then use that energy to think about the things that you want to manifest. You're planting mental seeds at this new moon in Gemini. All right. I'm going to go live tomorrow to talk more about it. But all I'll say is relax, get in that natural state, have fun, think about the things that you want. Boom. That's the new moon in Gemini. Let's keep it moving. All right. And then on Friday, the moon is going to move into the sign of Cancer. So you will see that at the left-hand portion of the chart, the moon is at 0 degrees of Cancer. So Cancer is the home sign for the moon. So the moon is extra comfortable in Cancer. So it's all about feelings. It's all about emotions. It's all about our basic emotional needs, comfort, security, all of that stuff, right? And so this is going to be where we start nurturing the things that we are trying to manifest or that we are manifesting. So you set your intentions for the new moon, okay? And I suggest you can set as many intentions as you want, but what can you realistically focus on? Remember, I said Jupiter's now in Gemini, so you're going to have a lot of thoughts. So if you're trying to manifest 40 different things at this new moon, it might be a little difficult. So use your discernment and figure out what needs your attention right now, or what is it that you want right now. And then when the moon is in Cancer, I want you to put the feelings behind it. What does it feel like to have that promotion? What does it feel like to have that car? What does it feel like? How is it going to make you feel when you have that partner? When you have that wedding ring? When you have that house? Put the emotions behind it. And this doesn't have to be an arduous exercise. It's just when you think about the thing, be conscious of how you feel. Now, if you have resistance to certain things, right? Let's say you're looking for that partnership, you want to get married, but you've been through it when it comes to relationships, right? And so sometimes when you're thinking about that thought of I want to be with this person, I want to get married, the feeling of fear, the feeling of hurt, the feeling of bitterness or resentment even may come up. As long as you're conscious of that and you try to replace that feeling, you're on the right track. It may not happen in that instance, right? It may take some training to do that. And by training, I mean you may have to, really be intentional about putting a positive feeling behind this thought. But it starts with the consciousness. It starts with observing how you feel about these things. You want to have more money, but you're scared or you don't know how. Just go past that. The how in any situation is not your business. Not your business. It's not your concern. The how does not concern you. The how is taken care of by God. God does the how. You just have to go to the end. You just have to say, all right, I have this $1 million. How do I feel? And I'm talking about, and I'm going a little bit on a tangent right now, right? When I'm saying to you, how does it make you feel? It's not just the euphoria of having that thing. For instance, you want to be a millionaire, right? Not only do you want to be a millionaire, if you're asking to be a millionaire, also ask to be a good steward of money, because there would be nothing worse than having $1 million and you can't even keep it. As an ex would say to me, it's not how much you cop, it's how much you keep. So asking for $1 million is cool. Also ask for the skills to hold on to it. But I digress. Of course, you have $1 million, right? And let's say you didn't win this $1 million from the lotto. Like you either worked for it, you accumulated it, you made some great investments, right? So this money stockpiles over time, right? How do you feel? Apart from just being happy that you having this money, like you probably feel a little less stressed out. Especially if you have like the same, imagine you had the same bills you have now, but you're like a millionaire. You're obviously going to be less stressed. You're going to be more relaxed. You're going to focus on different things. It's this feeling of peace. It might even be a feeling of freedom, right? Because now you have the funds to do things that you couldn't do before you had the $1 million. So it's not just the elation of having the thing. Imagine like, okay, the person that you want to be with, you have them. Maybe you want to get married to them, right? Of course, on your wedding day, you're going to feel great, of course, but I want you to think like a year after you've been married. And if you've been married before, you know what that's like. It's like the honeymoon phase wears off, but you feel secure in your relationship. Like a year out, you're like, all right, this is my person. I'm used to them. I sleep next to them every night. It's not novel anymore. I may not be basking in the glow of euphoria, but I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with this person. I'm secure in this relationship. I'm not worried about, are they going to call me? I'm not worried about, what is our date going to be like? You're well past that. That's what I mean by feeling it, adding feeling to these thoughts. Okay. And that's not something you're just going to do while the moon is in Cancer. This is an ongoing process. That's part of the process of manifestation. But when the moon is in Cancer, it's a perfect time to engage in that exercise. So feel what it is that you want. And again, you're moving past the euphoria of it. You're moving into the comfort and the security of it. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. So on Saturday, we've got Venus square Saturn. So, hi, Linda. Thank you so much for joining. So we've got Venus square Saturn. So Venus is at 19 degrees of Gemini. You'll see that the left-hand side of the chart. And then Saturn is at 19 degrees of Pisces. And you will see that at the top portion of the chart. All right. So this is one of those transits that I said before that you kind of have to work through. Now, on the bright side, Venus square Saturn fosters longevity. I want you to remember that. Now, for something to have longevity, right? That means it stands the test of time. If you have a tree that's deeply rooted, you could have a hurricane, a tornado, a snowstorm, a thunderstorm, a car could even hit it, right? And it's still standing. However, when you're in that hurricane, when you're in that tornado, when you're in that blizzard, when that car hits that tree, it's not necessarily a great situation, right? That's kind of how this particular transit works. Now, Venus has everything to do with love, money, equality, okay? So, when it comes to those topics, you're kind of being tested. And I hate to say that because I don't feel like the universe tests you. I feel like you're presented with opportunities to build character. Like, let's say you're like, listen, one of the things that I'm thinking about, one of the mental seeds that I'm planting is the seed of financial abundance. Okay. Now, with Saturn in Pisces, how that builds character is that, oh, sorry, my nose is really itchy. With Saturn in Pisces, it's like, all right, what is your belief system about money? You could have great thoughts about money all day. Oh, I'm good with money. I'm great with money. I am, whatever. I'm a millionaire. I'm whatever. But meanwhile, your subconscious programming is like money is evil. I have to work really hard. Anytime I have money, it goes this is something that I hear from people a lot. Like anytime I have money, anytime I'm saving, I got to dish out the money right away. Like I can't save anything. How you think you're going to be a millionaire and have that money accumulate if you have a subconscious belief that you can't save money, that you can't hold on to money? The two don't mix. So what's going on in here? When it comes to love, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm irresistible." Or one of the things that people love to affirm when they're affirming for a specific person, he's obsessed with me or she's obsessed with me, right? But let me ask you a question. How do you expect them to be obsessed with you if you're not even obsessed with yourself? How does that work? The two, you can't be double minded. When we're doing this work, okay, it's one track minded. Your inner story is in alignment with what you're thinking, okay? You want him to be obsessed with you, but you're not obsessed with you. Yeah, you're not going to get anything in that situation. So Venus square Saturn is like, all right, what are my beliefs? What have I been relying on? What is the story that I have been telling myself about these things? You want a husband, but you feel like all men cheat. Well, girl, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, you might get the husband, but then guess what? His ass is gonna cheat on you. That's the script you're working on. That's the script you're working off of. It has to play out that way. So, Venus square Saturn, it really gets you to look on the inside and be like, okay, what do I really believe about this? What story am what is my foundation for this? Money seems to be a big one because we tend to get conditioned about a lot of things, but money in the household, it's something that children become very aware of. It could be as simple as you want this toy and your parents are like, "No, I don't have the money for this." So in your mind, you're like, "Shit, like we don't have money. We're broke." Money, like I can't have the things that I want because I can't afford them. And guess what? That's the program that you've been running for like 38 years. So now you're like, "Listen, I'm a millionaire." And you saying it with your chest, right? You're like, "I'm a millionaire." Okay. So you start here's how it works. You start making money. Starts coming in. And then before you know it, your bank account is dry. The money left. The money left you. Money didn't want to stay with you. Why? Because you can't afford anything. The universe is always telling you your wish is my command. So what are you commanding? You're not just commanding it from here. You're commanding it from here. So what do you believe? Get your beliefs right. So we're not only getting our minds right, we're getting our beliefs right too. We're saying, listen, and with all due respect, say this with all due respect. I don't care what my parents thought about money. I don't care what grandma taught me about money. Right now, I am saying that I am abundant. I could afford whatever I want. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly. I have a wonderful job in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay all day. That's your belief right now. So get that right, get that tight, and start getting your shit. All right? Let's keep it moving. All right, babe. So then on Sunday, we've got quite a bit going on. So we've got Mars moving into Taurus. We've got the Sun square Saturn. Mercury is going to be sextile the North Node, and the Moon is going to be in Leo. So first up, you will see Mars moving into Taurus. So at the very right-hand portion of the chart, in the red circle, you'll see the male symbol in red. That is Mars. Mars is moving into Taurus. Then in the middle circle, you will see the sun at 19 degrees of Gemini, and that will be square to Saturn, which I didn't highlight, okay, which is at 19 degrees of Pisces. Then we've got Mercury in the middle circle at 13 degrees of Gemini. It will be sextile to the North Node, which is at 13 degrees of Aries. And then the moon is going to be in Leo. You'll see that upper portion of the chart. It'll be at 0 degrees of Leo. All right. So wherever the moon is, that's what sets the emotional tone for the day. So the moon is in Leo. It's going to be warm. It's going to be generous. It's going to be playful. All right. So keep that in mind over the weekend. Not only do you want to play when the moon is in Leo, it's lighthearted and it is heart centered. So this allows you to focus on what it is that you really want. And I say that because a lot of times we think we know what we want. And it's not to say that we don't. It's just that sometimes, I don't know if I want to give this story because it's quite personal. But I will say this. There was something I thought I really wanted, like really, really wanted. And it made sense to me at the time. But as time went by, and when I say all of these things I'm talking about with manifesting, I put it to use for this thing. I thought about it. I affirmed for it. I scripted for it. I listened to subliminals about it. I did the most with this thing. And it turns out I didn't get it. And at first I was like, if I'm being completely transparent, I was like, this manifestation shit doesn't work, because I was supposed to get this thing. I did all the things, and the thing that I wanted, I didn't get. And then when I really sat and I thought about it, and I really dropped into my heart space, it wasn't what my heart really wanted. It was something that I thought looked good. It was something that looked good on paper. It was something that I thought made sense for me, but it didn't. And so I didn't get it. And I'm not going to lie to you, it took me a little time for me to even want to get back into manifesting, because I'm like, how is it that I didn't get this thing? And understand this, that when you are in your heart space, when you are in alignment with what you truly want, you will get it. However, sometimes what you truly want doesn't look like what you think it is. I'll leave it at that, because that's actually its own video that I'm going to talk about. However, suffice it to say, be authentic with your requests. What is really in your heart? Okay? Is it this money, or is it what the money can do for you? If I were to give you $1 million right now, what exactly would you do with it? You've been affirming all day you want $1 million, but you haven't really thought about what that $1 million can do for you. What do you want it for? What's really in your heart? And the moon in Leo is going to allow you to do that, okay? It's going to allow you to get really authentic and really be yourself and figure out what it is that you truly want. So that's sort of the emotional tone for the day. It's also a great day to play. Whenever the moon is in Leo, that's when you want to address your inner child. That's when you want to let your inner child out to play. So do that. Especially it's Sunday, turn it into a Sunday fun day. Do something fun with people that you love. If you have children, it's a great day to hang out with your children and just chill, hang out, have fun. Keep it lighthearted. That's the best use of the energy of the moon in Leo. So now let's get into Mars and Taurus. And I spoke about this before, about how Mars and Taurus is very good for a specific thing. Now, Mars and Taurus is like allowing you to hone in on a particular desire and then put in the work toward that desire. Now, this is a little different than our intentions. We're in Gemini season. Sun is in Gemini, Mercury is in Gemini. So this is all about our intentions that we think about. When I talk about your desires with Mars, I'm talking about a passion. I'm talking about something, it's like a primal animalistic desire. What is it? Think about what that is, and then be prepared to do the work to facilitate that desire. What I love about Mars and Taurus is that it gets you to be very laser focused and one track minded on this desire. Now, understand that Mars and Taurus, it's like the beginning phase of it. So it's going to require some work. This is when you set the foundation for this thing. The seed that you plant today is not the fruit that you eat today. You gotta tend to the seed. It's gotta be water. There's gotta be sunlight. There's gotta be fertilizer, even sometimes, right? You're tending to this desire, but you're recognizing, and you're likely gonna be motivated with respect to this desire too. The one thing I'll say is that you likely are not gonna have to think about what this desire is. It's just gonna come up within you. So don't overthink this. But let's say, I don't know why I'm getting this example, but let's say you want to learn how to bake bread. I don't know why. Um, and that is something like you feel this overwhelming desire for it, right? So you buy a mixer, perhaps, you get some ingredients and you start getting to work, right? And if you're making bread, you add the yeast, you have to knead the dough, you got to let it sit and rise, then knead it again, then rinse, repeat, all that stuff. It's a process, right? That's what this is. It's a process of bringing a desire to fruition. So that process starts now and it's going to continue most definitely while Mars is still in Taurus, which should be for the next month or so. But we're starting right now. Thereafter, we've got the Sun square Saturn. So I want you to rewind and think about what I said about not sextile, Venus square Saturn, about how our thoughts have to align with our subconscious programming. This is more of the same. But what I will say about the Sun square Saturn is that it lets you see in broad daylight what those beliefs are. So, for instance, let's go back to our millionaire example. You want to be a millionaire, right? And maybe you don't tell your family, "Oh, I want to be a millionaire," but maybe you tell your family about $1 million idea that you have. "Oh, I want to do this." Or maybe you're talking to them about going into business for yourself or whatever. And they say, "Are you sure?" Or "That's going to cost a lot of money." "Oh, do you think you're going to be able to survive that way? That doesn't seem very smart." Guess what? That's showing you via the relationships in your reality what your beliefs are. Hey, your very first live. Welcome. Glad to see you. Um, they are showing you what your beliefs are. It's a belief in lack. It's a belief in perhaps not being able to do it. It's doubt. It's insecurity, right? It's going to become very apparent to you what those beliefs are. So pay attention. It's kind of going to be like a neon sign, so you can't miss it. But you may miss it because in the example I just gave you, right? Let's say you're talking to your brother, right? And you're telling your brother, "Yo, I'm doing this business. I really have this goal of doing whatever. I'm gonna do YouTube. I'm gonna do all these things." And your brother's like, "Are you for real? Like, don't quit your day job." And you may think, "Ugh, my brother's just a dick. My brother's just an asshole. Like, what the fuck? Like, this guy, he's shooting down my dreams." He's reflecting perhaps what you believe about the situation or what you believe about yourself. It's really important that you pay attention. Yeah, your brother may be a dick, but he's showing you some really important information. So take it for what it is and be like, "All right, no, I got to fix that. I got to work on those beliefs." Okay. So that's Sun square Saturn. And then finally, we've got Mercury sextile the North Node. And I spoke about this earlier because earlier in the week we had Venus sextile the North Node, where it's like, you know where your North Star is, and the right resources and the right people find you. It's opportunities to get on the right path and the help and the assistance that you may need to do so. Mercury sextile the North Node is the exact same thing. However, it has to do with your thoughts. Your thoughts are going to be overwhelmingly focused on where you are headed, okay? Where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do. And at this point in time, particularly this week, I want you to be very vocal about what it is that you're doing. If you have a business, if you are teaching, whatever it is, I want you to be vocal about it. It's sort of like how people are like, they want to find their soulmate, but they never go out of the house. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, the love of your life is not necessarily going to show up at your door. Can they? Yeah. Will they? Not likely. You got to put yourself out there. So talk, exercise that throat chakra. Tell people who you are, what you're doing, what you're about. That's what's going to help galvanize everything that is necessary for you to follow your North Star. If you were not to say something, perhaps the advice that you were about to get would never find you. You ever have those really synchronistic situations when you're thinking about something like, "Hey, I want to learn about this." And you happen to just talk to someone and they teach you about it, or they give you information, or they tell you where to go to get more information, right? That's the kind of energy that we have with Mercury sextile the North Node. So talk that talk. All right. I know this was a lot. So you may want to run this back. You may want to re listen to this throughout the week because, not even gonna lie to you, I feel like I was dropping a lot of gems. And it's not me that's dropping it, it's spirit that's dropping it. All right. So you may want to run this back and listen to it because there's a lot, but there's a lot that can be done this week. So much can be accomplished, so much can be planted. You definitely don't want to miss it. All right. So now that that is the forecast, let's get into some messages from spirit for you guys for the week. I love your name. Oh no, that's Mo. That's so cute. Thanks so much for joining. All right, so now we get to the portion of the broadcast where I pull cards for everyone from Spirit. Now, I do this by sign. So whether it's your sun sign, moon sign, Venus, Jupiter, North Node, doesn't matter. If it's your message, it's your message. If it's not, just leave it. All right. And today I'm using oracle cards. I'm not using tarot cards today because I feel like we needed a little more of a broader message right now. If we're too specific, we may limit what we're thinking and perhaps what we're trying to manifest. So this particular card pull, it's going to be sort of what you need to focus on or what you need to know right now. Okay. Sorry, I keep touching my nose, but not only do I have a little bit of an itch, I feel like spirit is like rubbing a feather under my nose. It's quite irritating if I'm being honest, but whatever. All right. First up, we've got Aries. Let's see what we've got for Aries for this week. Aries, we've got Firefly, and this is the card of wonder. Okay, this is the card of allowing your imagination to soar. Okay, so if you're an Aries rising, Gemini is your third house. That's the house of ideas and communication. It's the natural house of Gemini. This is the week where you are going to want to indulge in your curiosities and your imagination. You know, I was saying before, like, play with this. Think of something, imagine something that if it were to show up, you have no other choice than to realize that you created and manifested that. So indulge in your curiosities. If you're wondering something, see if it shows up. It very well might. All right. Be open minded, be free with your mind, take the barriers off your mind. And again, indulge in your curiosities this week. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus for this week. All right, Taurus, we've got the card Anchor, and this says stability. All right. Whatever you're thinking about, it's anchored in your mind. It's stable, it's secure. I'm seeing and I'm hearing like a runaway train kind of a thing. It's almost like I'm getting two things. Number one, you want to anchor in, like hone in on exactly what you're intending. It's not to say that you shouldn't let your mind wander. It's just that your ability to make things into reality right now is very strong. So it's almost like you know that movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? And how like people wanted different foods and the different foods would just rain on them. And then before you know it, there was like a waste problem because there was so much food falling from the sky. That's what I'm getting from for you. So understand you are extremely powerful right now. And that's not to scare you, but it's just for you to be a little discerning because it's cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Everything that you want is going to crystallize just like that. All right. It's also letting me know that if you have certain intentions, certain things that you want, and you feel like they're not stable in the sense that you feel like you may not be able to have them, they're a lot more stable than you think. A lot more stable. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Google it and watch the movie if you can. It's actually a really cute movie. So that's your homework this week. I want you to watch that movie and see how things just easily manifested. Meatballs, pizza, hot dogs, ice cream, candy. It all just started raining down. That's how powerful you are right now. That's how your intentions are right now. They're instantly manifesting. So use that power wisely. Next up, we've got Gemini. See what we've got for Gemini for this week. Ooh, Gemini, we've got Bullseye, which is focus. Yes, Gemini, there's a lot of stuff all over the place, right? A lot of thoughts, a lot of thoughts, a lot of overthinking, a lot of, that meme with Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? And he's by that board, and it's just like pictures, post it notes, strings. Well, that's sort of how your mind is looking right now. And Spirit is just like, I want you to focus. What is this bullseye? Now, for you, you know how I spoke about Mars entering Taurus and how Mars entering Taurus allows you to hone in on one particular desire? I feel like this is the desire you want to hone in on. Maybe this is the intention that you want to set for this new moon. What is it? Quiet all that other noise. If it's not this bullseye, then try not even to think about it. Focus, have that laser like focus on what it is that you want, and it will come to pass. Promise. And that's not me promising, that's God promising. All right. Next up, we've got Cancer. Let's see what we've got for Cancer for this week. Cancer. We have power lines, and this is called energy. You know what the current is that runs through all of these? Your emotions. Your emotions are the energy. It's the current that powers these power lines. Now, you guys can be a little temperamental with your moods. Your emotions kind of be all over the place. This is the week where you kind of want to, same message sort of as like Taurus, and how I was saying Taurus like cloudy with a chance of meatballs. So with Taurus, it was like whatever you think about is materializing. For you, Cancer, it's like whatever you feel, especially intently, is also going to manifest. So what emotions are you using to power these power lines or this power grid? Be conscious of how you're feeling. Be intentional with what you feel. And it says energy, but I'm also getting the word current. And what is current? What is currency? That's money. Some of you, this intention, the seeds you're planting right now are seeds of money. Put the appropriate emotions behind it. And it'll power up these power lines and this power grid, and you're going to start to see money start to materialize. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we've got for Leo for this week. Oh, Leo. I am guided to take this card. You're going to love this. We've got Heart, which is love. This is all you. All you got to do is be yourself right now, Leo. Honestly, be yourself. Allow your heart to lead. And don't limit, especially in relationships right now, don't put any limits on how good you could feel or just how great love can be. There's a certain optimism that we have at our disposal with Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter in Gemini is getting us to think optimistically and to think optimistic thoughts. For you, Leo, I feel like it has to do with love. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It really doesn't. The only reason why it would matter is if you bring the past into the present. If you take the emotional baggage and you park it in your new relationship, guess what's going to happen? You already know. So, your light should be heart your heart should be light as a feather right now. You see how this is like a helium balloon, right? Allow your heart to ascend. Allow your heart to soar. Be light-hearted right now. That's going to be the key for you to manifest at this time. All right, next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we have for Virgo this week. All right, Virgo, we've got the card Stars. This is divine guidance. I can say this because I've already been feeling this. You don't second guess what the universe is giving you right now. You are like perhaps not used to getting what you want, and you're starting to get what you want, and you're just like, okay, so when's the other shoe gonna drop? Or is this for real? Or can I actually trust this? Like, I can almost hear you saying that. Don't do that. You're being divinely guided right now. Spirit's like, you asked for this, didn't you? So what's really good? Are you gonna take it or like what? So yeah, don't I'm hearing two phrases that I do not think apply. I'm hearing don't look a gift horse in the mouth and don't bite the hand that feeds you. Those don't make any sense. What I will say is that you are in alignment right now, and the things that are in alignment with you are starting to show up. And it may feel a little weird. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It may feel a little weird. Accept it, go with it, feel weird, ease into it, lean into it. It's what you asked for. It's divinely guided, it's divinely provided, so it can't go wrong. Point blank period. Okay? Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we have for Libra for this week. Okay, Libra, we've got fence, which is boundaries. All right, some of you, especially when it comes to your mental capacities, you are very guarded. And when I say guarded, I really want to say like limited. You're limiting how you think. Not completely, because if you look at this fence, you could still, there's still spaces here, right? It's not like a brick wall, but you're kind of like too rational in the sense that you may try to rationalize things. Your imagination is like, we could own a zoo, or I want to go to a zoo or something with a zoo. I don't know why. I'm seeing zebras right now. That's why I said that. And you're like, well, no, we can't. We can't do this. It's going to cost this, or I'm going to have to do this. And it's like spirit is like, oh, come on, Libra. Just allow yourself to imagine it. A lot of what we imagine, a lot of what we desire is God given. It's like God already knew what we wanted. So if you can think it, you can have it because you have it already. It's not anything that hasn't been created. It's not anything that you can't have. Yet, Libra, you're limiting yourself. You're thinking a little small, if I'm being honest, okay? Don't do that. Especially with Jupiter and Gemini, think out loud. Maybe not speak what you're thinking. Dream big. Knock this fence down. It's not serving you right now. There's going to be times for this. Not gonna lie, there's gonna be times for this. Now is not the time. Take the limits off your mind, dream, and allow things to come to pass, no matter how outlandish or irrational you think they are. Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we've got for Scorpio for this week. All right, Scorpio, we've got peace and harmony. All right, this is definitely giving the Venus transits for this week. So, Venus sextile North Node, Sun conjunct Venus, Venus square Saturn. So, when it comes to issues of love, when it comes to issues of money, I think that you are enjoying a certain amount of peace and a certain amount of harmony right now. Now, this is important because going back to what I said before about the emotions that you put behind things. If we're talking about love and money, this is the end goal when it comes to love and money for you, meaning that when it comes to money, you're not stressed out, you're not anxious, you have peace and harmony. It's like money is coming in, money is going out. It's this continuous cycle that allows you to feel stable, secure, and peaceful. Same thing with love. You're not chasing after somebody. You're not involved in this unrequited love. Like you're stable in your relationship. Even if these things have not materialized yet, you still have the feeling this week. And that's so important. You still have the feeling. The feeling is what's going to make it come about. So don't stress. Don't get anxious. You already have the thing or the person that you want. So everything's peaceful. Everything's groovy, right? Tap into that energy this week. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius for this week. Sagittarius, same as Virgo, you've got stars, divine guidance. Same message. Although for you, this has a lot to do with relationships. So I feel like you are being divinely guided in the direction that you are supposed to. So this means to me that there are going to be certain desires that come up for you this week, and they are in alignment with perhaps your north node or where you're headed in this lifetime, right? So whatever these desires are, they may be remarkably different than the desires you've had in the past. Remember, I talked about before about you wanting something, but it may not be necessarily what you really want. Maybe in the past you wanted something, and now you're realizing that that thing is not necessarily the best for you. It's like source, God, the universe, whatever you believe in is showing you what is of your highest good. And you're being divinely guided to that thing, that person, that situation, whatever it is, right? That place even. So allow yourself to be divinely led. When we are divinely guided, we have to follow. We have to allow ourselves to be led. You're not being led off a cliff. You're actually being led to better than what you could have designed for yourself. So allow yourself to be divinely led. Okay. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Let's see what we've got for Capricorn. Wow, I definitely shuffled Capricorn. Same message. Okay. Actually, same exact message as Sagittarius. Allow yourself to be divinely led. For Capricorn, though, the slight variation I'm getting is that it is a place. You are being guided to go someplace, whether you are relocating or whether you are just visiting, or maybe there's a trip that you need to take. There's a place where you're being guided to go. Go. You never know what you're going to find there. You could find the love of your life. You could get an amazing job. Even if you're on vacation, you could have the time of your life, okay? Allow yourself to be divinely led. Next up, we've got Aquarius. Let's see what we've got for Aquarius for this week. Aquarius, you've got two. We've got water, which is surrender, and then we've got tree, ancestry. The phrase that just came to mind is that tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. Let it go, especially if the tradition does not serve you. Of course, there are traditions that are meant to be upheld, right? But sometimes this tree ancestry card is giving very emotional trauma that's been passed down, messed up beliefs about certain things, limiting beliefs about certain things. Let it go. For some, you need a good cry. You need a good cry because you're going to come to understand that perhaps the story that you've been told and that you've been telling yourself is really not helping you. It's really not serving you. And you got to let it go. So if you feel like crying, cry. 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 But you got to let it go because it's not serving you. And it leaves room for a new narrative, a new belief that's in alignment with what you really want. Let it go. It's okay. Your ancestors understand. They want better for you. If you talk to them, they'd probably tell you, like, yeah, this wasn't it. Like, we realize that now. Now that we're on the other side, we realize that this shit wasn't it. But you have the chance to cut that, to break that chain and start a new one. So you've got quite a task on your hands, but ultimately you will be so much better for it. Okay. And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. Let's see what we've got for Pisces. Okay, Pisces, we've got the card entitled Succulence, which is resilience. Pisces, stay the course. Some of you are really in your feelings right now. And I hate to have this like annoyed face, but that's how I feel. That's how it's coming up. It's like things are starting to materialize, but you're like, I don't know. It's giving very Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Like, I don't know. You do know. Stay the course. Things are coming along. Mm. You need to clean your emotional energy. Some of you need a spiritual bath, like hard body. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Some of y'all need a spiritual bath. Others of you, you're feeling a lot of, you're carrying a lot of other people's emotions. Other people, it's like Okay. I will give you a perfect example. I used to have this group of friends, and we were only friends because we would commiserate together. It was when they say misery loved company. Okay. We all were in really messed up relationships. And that's actually how we became friends. I believe that the dudes that we were dating, like they all knew each other. So we would all talk about how they were horrible, right? I don't recommend. However, I realized that we became friends for a long time, right? But they were still on this misery boat, right? Like they were all about that. I got into a better relationship. Yet it's like I kept looking for fault in my partner because I was surrounded by people who were miserable in their relationships. That's what I mean by you taking on other people's energy. Like you may be working with someone and they hate their job. Meanwhile, the job is serving you just fine, but you're like, oh no, this job isn't good, blah, blah. Don't let other people's feelings and shit like cloud your judgment or cloud your emotions. Things are working out for you. You have to be resilient though. And that resilience requires you to shed some of this emotional dead weight that you've got. And please, like, feel better about this process. Yes, it is a process. Yes, things may not turn out the way that you want them to, but they are working out in your favor. And when all is said and done, things are going to work out so much better than you could have thought. And I can so see you at that time. Oh, I knew this was going to work out. Girl, no, you didn't. Because at some point you were like, I don't like this. Oh, blah, blah. Girl, get it together. Everything's working out in your favor. No need to worry. All right, my love. So that concludes this edition of the weekly astro forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this week. And again, you might want to run this back. I feel like this is one of the best lives I've done in a minute. All right. Because it's chock full of information. It's information that I'm going to use most definitely. All right. So I wish you nothing but the absolute best for this coming week. I'm going live tomorrow at 4 p.m. to discuss the new moon in Gemini. Tap in. It's going to be a whole vibe. See you then. If not, I will see you next week. Take care, my loves.